all of their fates are tied together. I'm sticking with what I said, man. With all the things he's had to deal with and the minor league players he's had to coach and everything, he just needs to take last year's trophy and scratch it off and make it this year's, because he deserves this year's Manager of the Year way more than he deserved last year's.
Yeah, when you look at how the team has turned over, to put it one way, over the course of the season, you've got to give Francona all kinds of credit. There's lots of things that the team has done wrong this year, but the direction they've been getting from the dugout from Francona certainly isn't in the top 10 as far as legitimate things for people to complain about.
No, absolutely not. I'm telling you, man, no offense, but we saw this before. A different coach with this squad in these circumstances, and this team right now is winning 5 games in the entire month of August, heading down the stretch, and looking at only getting uglier down the way. We've seen it happen before, but anyways,
right.
It doesn't matter, Dan. Destiny. The Dolans are going to get paid. Why? Destiny. That's all I'm going to keep saying, because we're going to go up and down on this ride, but it's coming. Giambi's back. He's stretched out. Coach knows he can put him in at any time. Just pay attention, man. Maybe on the 22nd.
I love your passion, man. I love your passion. I was thinking about your team of Destiny thing. In fact, I almost texted you a couple of times during that road trip when things were going our way out. Things were going our way out in Kansas City, and it really started looking good. Like I said earlier today, last night took a little bit of the air out of that balloon, but I know it's not going to deflate your balloon because Destiny
has to happen.
And that's fine. It's good. It's good to call in and always have a guy that's upbeat, because sometimes you roll out of bed in the morning and you think that maybe this is the end of the line for the 2014 Indians, and then I can call in and talk to J-Rock and I can feel all kinds of better about it.
Well, I'm telling you, if you know that it's destiny, then you can lose 2 games and go, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to happen. It's all going to play out just well. Hey, look, I'm having some fun with the last month of the season, and like you, hopefully people feel like you did, man. I think it's much more fun to talk about it that way than any other way, especially baseball. It's day to day. It's the grind, and so that's the way I choose to look at it. But I'm sticking with it, man. The team, I'm telling you, it's coming down, man. It's coming down. Giambi is going to hit a crucial. Me and Mike Brandenberry were texting about that the other day. He goes, he already did last year against Chicago. I'm like, he's got one more home run coming. He's got that final scene in the movie. Roy Hobbs is going to do it one more time. And he's like, I'm telling you, that was last year's movie. I said, well, you've said that a few times this year, and yet here we sit. The set looks pretty similar. The director looks pretty similar. We may be refilming this movie again this year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's what we wanted was to be playing meaningful games in September. That's what we've got. I do hope that the people of the city, respond and support the team over the next month, but that schedule with 17 home and 10 road games still holds true. The weakness of the schedule still holds true, and we're not done yet. I'm with you. I'm not sure I'd use that destiny term, but we've got enough. We've got enough games left against the people we need to beat to make it competitive in the middle toward the end of September, not just on the 2nd or 3rd of September. So. We'll see where that goes, but I'm optimistic still that the team can keep it interesting for the next few weeks.
Destiny sounds better than saying I called Miss Cleo and she told me it's in the cards, man. So that's why I choose the phrase destiny. All right, man, speaking of destiny, we're destined one way or another to start this Browns season this weekend. I'm not going to give you too much, put you on the spot. How do you see this game going down Sunday? When you and I talk Monday, Browns and Steelers will be in the books, and let me know what you think, and give me a prediction for the Browns. How many wins do you think they get this season?
I think the Browns are I'm in that six to 7 game kind of thought process. I mean that's where I am. There is absolutely no one who thinks the Browns are going to go to Pittsburgh this week and beat the Steelers. I think the game is going to be tighter than most people think. I think the Steelers are an 8-8 team. And if I think we're a 6 or 7 win team, that means we're going to have a close game. I do think we're going to have a close game. I'm not prepared to say right now the Browns are going to go upset the Steelers in Pittsburgh in Week 1. I might have said that or thought that could happen 3 or 4 weeks ago before I saw this offense on the field, for a couple of exhibition games. But right now, I don't have enough faith in our ability to score points to predict an upset. But I do think the game will be close. I think hopefully Browns fans. What I want to do, Jerry, is see this team go, no worse than 1-2 over those first 3 games. If you can go in and travel to Tennessee in Week 4 after the bye, or is that before or after the bye, to try to go 2-2 by beating the Titans, I think any Browns fan would take that. But I just think 0-3 is going to really, really crush this team. They need to grab one of those games. I don't know if it's the Saints or the Ravens at home or whether it's the Steelers in Pittsburgh, but I think they're going to win one of those 3, and I think they really need to.
I agree with you, man. You cannot, you can't start 0-3, but that's tough, man. I mean, you're talking, obviously 2 division foes, one of which I think is going to win the division in Baltimore and New Orleans, who I just got done saying I think that's a Super Bowl contender right there. And tough stretch. 2 of them at home. You got to try. I'm with you. You got to try to go 1-3 with the. Or 1-2 heading into that Tennessee game coming out of the bye week. Plus, 0-3 changes all kinds of things on the course of the season. The quarterback's going to change. Then you're going to really go into the learning curve and everything. It's all downhill from there, man. So, you win one of those 3 in that first stretch, and it allows you to stay the course and see what happens to get to that soft spot of the schedule where you've got Jacksonville or Tennessee and Jacksonville and a couple of those other teams in there.
Yeah, that's right, and that's you've got to weather this early season storm. It's the worst possible, kind of a setup for this team that's got a new everything. New ownership and new coach and new quarterback or whatever. I don't know. It's going to be tough to win one of those 3.
For sure.
It would be a miracle to win 2 of those 3. But I think if you can even just go to Tennessee and for Game 4 with a chance to go 2-2, that's really where you want to be if you're realistic at all about the prospects for this team this year.
Especially if you play competitive. Even in the games that you lose. If you play some competent football and you go 1-2 in those first 3 games, you go into the bye week able to adjust and hopefully, like I said, it's the difference between clearing the decks and just seeing what happens for the rest of the season and developing young guys or continuing to try to compete week to week. There will be a different game plan in Week 4 depending on how those first 3 go. And I'm not even going 2. I can't say it. I'm with you. 1. Win one of those 3 games. To me, that's a best case start to the season right there.
Yeah, I think at least if you're clear-headed and realistic about this team and if you were paying attention for the last 4 weeks exhibition season, I do agree that with lots of people that think that the defense could potentially be good enough to keep them in most every game. We haven't really seen this team playing with their starting 2 cornerbacks for the last couple weeks, and that maybe has given people a mistaken idea of what teams can do against them offensively. But I like the defense. I like the personnel on the defense. I like the experience, and I think with Whitner and Dansby, you brought in a couple of veterans that you really desperately needed to give it some stability. And we know the defense wins, and the defense can keep you in games when your offense and special teams might just be enough to scrape out enough points to win you a ball game or 2 that you weren't otherwise going to win. So that's, I think, going to have to be the formula this team relies on, and just expecting it to work out positively right out of the gate against opponents of that quality is just maybe not terribly realistic. And I'd be ecstatic if they won 2 of those 3 games, but I would be happy with 1.
Yep, especially when 2 of those opponents have high aspirations for the season. Dan, when we come back Monday, we'll be 2 deep into the Buckeye season to talk about. We'll be through the majority of this Indians homestand, and we will be 1 into the Browns season, and we will know how they kick things off. And I think after, like you said, after we see that, give you a much better idea of how to look, not just to the season, but how to look at that first game coming back home, too.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I'll look forward to talking to you Monday. We'll rehash all of weekend's football, and can't wait to do it.
All right, Dan, have a good one. Enjoy going to the Horseshoe this weekend, and I can't wait to catch up on Monday.
Thanks, J-Rock. See you later.
You got it. My man, Dan the Man Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. He's with us every Monday and Wednesday here on the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll take this last break, come back, wrap things up, an extended edition of the Sports Fix today. Do not go anywhere. Phone lines, I'll open them up for the last few minutes. 216-539-7535. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Sports Fix.
The Sports Fix.
A shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist.
The Sports Fix.
A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
The fix is in. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Patrick Borlow from Cleveland Lake Cream Monsters, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
It's just an old ball, really. Nothing more. We grew with it and studied it. We owned it and shared it. We prayed they would hit it and miss it. We prayed they would catch it and drop it. We wanted it to bounce and fly, speed up and slow down. We prayed it would come to us, and we wanted to give it away. We have watched it weather storms and bask in the sun. And it's always right here in our hands. Cleveland Indians, established 1901.
The Sports Fix is now available every day on the world's largest internet radio service, iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeartRadio app, subscribe to the show, and get your fix.
Indians fans, GV Art and Design has unleashed their new baseball collection. This summer, you've got to have one of the hottest baseball shirts available. GVArtwork.com, bringing it full force to the plate for baseball season this year. Whether you check them out online, GVArtwork.com, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10 to save 10% on your total purchase. Whether you go to their store in Lakewood, check them out at the Cleveland Indians team shops, and so much more. GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck, home of the low price tire guarantee. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix. Final segment here, wrapping things up across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Phone lines open for the last few minutes of the show. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. Hit us up. And of course, don't forget, throughout the evening and into tomorrow, Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com, as we head into the final segment of the show. Heading into the night here, the Indians going at it. I'll preview that game in just a second. Speaking of the Indians, I was talking last segment with Dan, as you guys heard, mentioned the Indians' attendance. I did pull it up during the break. Thus far, through 64 home dates, which is still, matter of fact, they have the least number of home dates of all of the teams in baseball. There's a couple other at 64, but there's a handful of teams with only 64 home dates thus far in the season. The Indians, at this point in the season, 1,212,000 fans through the gate. It averages out to 18,000 $938 per home game. So a little bit higher than Dan and I were giving him credit to. A hair under $19,000 a game at home, which I do believe is an increase. I'll pull up the last few years and let you know, but it still sits 29th in the league. About 1,000 fans a game higher than Tampa Bay. Tampa's averaging 17.8 a game, and the Indians are just about 1,000 below Chicago, who's the